5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
Oh, if one more person tells me fairy tale New York shit, I'm done with this. Hello, Merry Christmas and all that, and welcome to the final regular episode of what has been the most mental year we've had doing this little show. Mad that this started out when we were in Division 6 and we just recorded audio in a pub whenever we got chance. Now look at the state of it. Yes, that's right, the bells are ringing out for Series 8, Episode 57 of 2022, and we're going to end it with a bang rather than with a whimper. 57 episodes. Fuck knows how many people I've offended in that time. Here's to more of the same. Chin chin. Yes, it's been a mental year doing the show. I can't let the start of the show go by without thanking every single person who's watched, listened, guested, come to a live show, got involved in the live shows, interacted with us on social media, bought us drinks, donated to our PayPal. I get a reputation as like some absolute dickhead. I think it's all Russ's fault. Because he's so nice that someone's got to be a dickhead next to him. But I bumped into someone at the ground yesterday and they were saying how much they like the show and stuff like that. And then as I walked off, I heard him say to his mate, "Oh, he's actually not as much of a dickhead in person." So more of that next year, please. Before we crack on, it was also very enjoyable to see plenty of you down at Stockport Gin for our big fat quiz panel show thing last week, whatever it was. Thanks to Paul and Cheryl for the venue and the booze, and to our guests Andy James, Sam Byrne and Liam Richardson, and of course to Russ for keeping a semblance of professionalism. Anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm sure that given both myself and my guests are very well lubricated, there'll be plenty more of that. Right, let's get our guest out right after this.
This is the Scarf Bagara War, a Stockport County fan-created podcast, blog, YouTube live show and website. Find us at thescarfbagarawar.co.uk. For county fans, by county fans.
It's only bloody Ben Walker. Hello, Ben.
Nick Lee, how are we? Season's greetings and things like that to you.
Yuletide. Tidings. That's what
Tidings,
great, innit?
Yeah, good to see you again.
You too, man. You too. Are we agreed that Boxing Day is the best thing about Christmas?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Christmas is probably the worst thing about Christmas. So Boxing Day is, it's right up there. Right up there.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And I saw you in the Courtyard. Before we get onto the football, we'll chat about the Courtyard. What were your thoughts? Can we agree to call it a courtyard and not a fan zone? Fan zone conjures up images of like face painting and tinfoil pickups.
I mean, where does a fan zone end and a courtyard begin is the kind of eternal question. I don't know. But we'll go with courtyard. Excellent, without sounding like really patronising, but top concept, really, really good. I think that it's the first time we've done it. It was a sellout crowd. There's inevitably going to be problems that need ironing out. You know, the food for the queue. Spot who's been on the beers. Queue for the food was, ridiculous. We got there about 20 to 2. Kind of geared up for it. Or even at that point, there's probably a 20-minute queue. So we flounced off to the Friary, making, I'm not coming back here again. Got to the Friary and it was closed. So sheepishly came back in, just decided to have some beers. I'd like to think we'll get it right. It wasn't perfect. I think as a concept, being there, a space in Edgeley Park, money going to the club, the beer service was great, good atmosphere, thoroughly on board with it. Just get the queue for the food sorted out. There was probably 12 service hatches across the thing for food and booze, probably 8 of them were booze, needs to be the other way around. But I'm sure we've got people at the club who can address that and get it fixed for our next game. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to using it a little bit more. Good to see 8 days a week out there. So didn't get one yesterday because of the queues, but looking forward to be able to get them down me at the game.
What was the toilet report? Because I didn't go and use the toilets in the fan zone, but it's nice. Is it like festival toilet style thing?
Unnervingly clean. Like someone needs to go and disgrace them because they were spotless. And you know, as an ex-festival, too old and bald and fat to go to festivals now. But, used to go to festivals, and you kind of prepare yourself and hold your nose as you go in. But these look like they'd had someone in there after every person had been in. So not encouraging anyone to go and, you know, make a show of themselves, but bring them down to earth a little bit more for next time.
Just wait until the glory holes get carved into them. That'll
It
change
needs a
it
bit
all.
more graffiti and some stickers, then it'll really feel like home.
Yeah. I used to work at a bar in Withington, and my first night in there, I went into the little toilet cubicle, and someone had written on the wall. This isn't a whole, I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure part of this thing. Someone had written, "When freedom exists, there will be no state." I thought, oh God, that's a bit much. Underneath that, someone had replied with, "Well, maybe the state can free us from the vices of capitalism." I thought, fucking hell, this is escalating. And then underneath, someone had wrote, "Grow up and get a fucking job," which absolutely love. I want something like that. Yeah.
Get out your mum's spare bedroom and get on with your life.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I think
fan zone good mainly. Yeah.
Like with anything, it just needs a bit of person. It felt as if it had just come straight out of the box yesterday, which it had. You know, it was the first time we'd been in there. The containers were all new. The signage was all new. Everything was new. Just needs bedding in a little bit. Same with anything. I think, let's give it a bit of personality. If people go in there, if away fans come in there and put stickers in the toilets, and people, there's like casual co stickers in there or whatever, don't take them down. Leave them up in there. Give it a bit of personality and a little bit of something that it's not just this bland, kind of new experience. And let's kind of really make it something good. I think what was quite interesting is that I don't know whether they've tried to replicate those kind of Liverpool nights, those boss nights, where there's obviously a bit of stage there. Are they going to get some bands down? Are they going to get people to come and, do a bit of a turn before the games, in the same way that obviously Jamie Webster's from Liverpool. Get him down, that's all we listened to in the running last year, wasn't it? That bloody
Weekend in Paradise.
Weekend in Paradise, that one, yeah. It was all that kind of final 5 games that the club put out. All the changing room scenes was Weekend in Paradise. Yeah. It's probably get Jamie Webster. Maybe we've got our own Jamie Webster in the fan base who'll get performing in the Courtyard for us.
Dossa jacket and his ukulele. That'll do me.
I mean, to be honest, I want to keep going. So
yeah. Well, it's good that they getting people down early and stuff like you said, putting money in.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's been such a missed opportunity for the club for years, and certainly pre-stop we've not had the means to do it. Full marks for the club for trying this kind of thing. It's been one time. I'm not going to lay into it, as much as I do like to lay into things. I'm not going to lay into it. It's been one game, sellout crowd. So over the next couple of months, let's see it evolve a little bit. Let's get the queuing right. Let's give it a little bit of personality, and I think it could be really good. And like you say, it's more money for the club. I had a better pint there, even in a plastic pint pot. I had a better pint there yesterday than you get in most pubs in Edgeley. So not bad at all.
It just goes to show all the stuff that Stott said he's done, that he has done, and then there's just bonus stuff like that wasn't on the original thing. If you're listening or watching, Mark, we've heard a rumour that you want to come on. Come on, let's get it done. Contact at scarfbegarawar.co.uk and we'll sort it out. We can even come to you. We're not fussy. Russ drives, so it's fine. Ryan Moore has said...
Russ. He's got it all.
Yeah. A live mic with Daz Sampson at the County Courtyard. He can finally bring that song out that he was going to do when we got promoted, that we were meant to be on, and never happened. That could have been my taste of chart stardom. Right, on to the game then. Thoughts? First half, them 2 chances early on. We put them away, and it's that we're going to be getting the 5-1 that you bet on.
Yeah, Paddy had his. I think I saw you before the game, and I said that the last 2 home boxing games that have been in front of crowds, we've won 5-1. We beat Halifax in 2019, Osborne hat-trick. Then last year we were beat Alty 5-1. So stuck a bet on, I think we're going to win 5-1 again. And honestly, I think if Paddy had put that chance away early on, we could have gone on and done that. I mean, we had the chances even in the last 20 minutes of the game, let alone over the 90 minutes to win 5-1. Wasn't to be, 2-0. The first half was a bit of a non-event, bit drab, bit, you know, we were on top without ever really looking as good as we can be. Got nothing from Crewe. Second half, we were just really good. I was thinking about this before, knowing I was coming on tonight, that there's never any kind of jeopardy in those games now, that you just know that we're going to win, which is a really unusual feeling for us, even despite the last kind of year or two that we've had where we've been consistently solid and really good. That it's just such a strange feeling, having that confidence that we are going to win those games against the kind of, not even the fodder teams, just the middling, no real threat teams, that we're strong enough to win those games. So it's really enjoyable to see us do that, push on ahead of what is a tough game on whatever day it is, the 29th. Don't know what day it is today, but then the 29th, Walsall.
It's a horrible like perineum time, isn't it? Where you're like halfway in between the testicles of Christmas and the anus of New Year's Day. Yeah.
Horrible description, but very apt. Yeah.
Horrible is all I've got. It's just been since last Wednesday. I just don't think I've stopped drinking. Right, and Andy invited us back to Notion after, and we were up until I've got dark fruits, and I've got me mini rums as well. So yeah. So just anything. I'll just have anything. I'm not fussed. Back at work tomorrow, so
yeah. Tremendous.
Rude not to in it. I've even got to get a pint. Amazing, actually, getting to get a pint at half time was just so new. Actually, not having to have a horrible time.
Well, I went because we went to we got to the Courtyard, didn't get food, didn't even bother, to be honest. After the initial queue, thought fuck it, we'll just have some beers instead. And then got in the ground at about 20 to 3. Thought, well, we'll just get a pie in the ground. At least it's, you know what you're getting, it's fine. Do you know what? The service in there is still a shambles. Don't want to, there's loads to be positive about. Courtyard's great, on the pitch is great, stadium looks fantastic, all of that. Someone, please sort out the service and the Cheadle concourse, because it's just beyond pathetic. And it's so obvious how easy it could be to sort as well. Anyone who's responsible for that, spend half an hour before a game or at half time just observing it, and not as a means to go in and bollock the staff for being slow. They are slow, but it's not about that. Just looking at ways to improve where people stand once they've ordered their food. Where do they go next? Rather than just standing there doing nothing and holding up the queue, move them along to the side. It's just so poor. And to go and pick up a pie, nothing else, literally, I'll have a pie, please, takes like 15, 20 minutes when there's only about 6 people ahead of you in the queue. Just come on, it's not hard. Get it right.
Let's have pints pre-poured as well. That'd make such a difference. I mean, it wasn't a problem in the Courtyard because the drinks bar was moving very quick. But it's just like, obviously you've been to a lot of gigs and festivals and stuff like that. It's just common sense. It makes such a difference.
It does. And I say it's in the past we've had a lot more to moan about. So stuff like this feels like we're being really petty, but it does affect it that I only buy something at the ground now out of necessity. I said for years when we used to have like the dog burgers and the warm flat carling, I'm not going to spend a penny in the ground, and I didn't for about 15 years. Since we've got decent beer and we've got decent food on, I've been more willing to spend money, but I don't now because it's such an obstacle and obstruction trying to get hold of something, because the staff are so half-arsed. They're on the phones, they're chatting, they're just milling about or just dawdling. The queues are so slow. It's organised so badly. Come on, we're almost there. Let's put that little bit extra in and get it right. And I can find something else to moan about, because there's always something, isn't there?
There's always something, isn't there? There's always something. So back onto the game then. Who's your man of the match? Because was it Paddy Madden who got it? I mean, you could have made a case for pretty much everyone, I think, apart from Ben Hinchliffe, who could have pulled the deck chair.
Yeah. Like, if in doubt, give it Madden. And generally, he deserves it because he's something else, isn't he, Madden? A lot of people have said Rydell. I think he was good. To be honest, I think he does. I know when we play Charlton at home, Collar got a hat-trick, so he's always going to get man of the match because he scored a hat-trick. But being belligerent and awkward, I would have given it Rydell because I think he was fantastic. And since he's coming back into the team against Swindon in the Cup over the last 6 weeks or so, he's been outstanding. He's played 50 games for us already. He's only 21. I put on the board earlier, his delivery from corners is as good, is Premier League standard. You know, the way that you set Collar up, you think back to the Bolton game, and he put it right on Palmer's head. And if you watch the replay of Palmer's goal against Bolton, it's at that height where it's above defenders, but it's dipping, it's whipped, it's fast. We've not had that, probably, certainly in the last, I can't remember who used to put corners in like that. Maybe John Jeffers, so 30 years ago, 25 years ago. So I think Rydell was excellent, has been excellent recently, and was excellent yesterday. Everyone was good second half, but I think Rydell is really, really stepping up and looking something special at the moment.
Yeah, it's scary that he's only 21, isn't it? Just absolutely terrifying that.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Well, and he's got so much potential as well. You know, but he's not someone who, until recently, has ever kind of put in 10 out of 10 displays. He's always been kind of slightly under the radar, 7 out of 10s, you know, and just being a bit of an unsung hero. But now he's cranking that up a little bit. And I think where we had Southam Hales, who was hitting those heights, certainly early days of Challoner and, dare I say it, under Stevie Rusk, Rydell's kind of getting to that level now. So, yeah, really excited. Hopefully he gets a good run in the team, and excited to see what he can do.
I mean, everyone was a bit excited to sign Callum McDonald, who looked decent, but it'd be interesting to see if we do extend his contract. I'm guessing not, the way things are at the moment.
Well, if he's not playing.
No, that's it. And when Rydell, when we made some changes yesterday, it was Hippolyte moving to left wing back, so we've got that option as well. So
was he on the bench yesterday, McDonald?
I'm not sure he was, no. So he's not even making the bench because we've got a player like Hippolyte who can move about, play 3 or 4 different positions. There's no need. I'd like, I said it before, Ronnie, but I'd like to see Hippolyte at like left centre back as well. Hippolyte, I think he could do a job there.
I might see him in goal just for the crack.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done yesterday.
Yeah. Having said that, big asterisk by it, just in case anyone thinks I'm being serious. One, I'm not. But also, Hinchcliffe. I mean, I'm probably his biggest fan. I think he's outstanding. What a servant he's been for the club. You know, even when he's been dropped, he's just kind of, you could see when Ethan Ross was in goal last season and Yaros was in goal this season. The end of the games, at clean sheets or big moments, Hinchcliffe was like their biggest supporter, was their biggest, you know, we straight over them, hugging them, high five at the end of the game. And then, you know, it never seemed, you know what he's like privately, but certainly professionally, it never seemed to get him down, that he missed out on the big moments against Bolton and Leicester and whatever. Yeah, so I got over a bit of a tangent here, but let's not play Hippolyte in goal.
Tangents are what I like the most, so carry on.
2, Hinchcliffe for me is our absolute number 1. He's not one mistake away from being dropped and Yaros coming back in. He is a catastrophic run of, you know, error after error after error from potentially losing his spot. He's just ace. And you look at how many clean sheets he's kept, how assured we are. People say, oh, well, it's because we've had a settled back 4 or 5 since he's been in goal. Well, I say it's the other way. He's bought that calmness and everything else. And look at how much Horsfall has excelled from having a reliable, assured, confident, and a number 1 behind him who communicates. And the whole team is fed off that. And yeah, he's our number 1 and should be. Absolute minimum end of this season. I'd get him signed up again next year as well. And he as our number 1.
Is it 298 games now? He'll be hitting.
He's closing in on Tiger Bowles, isn't he?
Yeah. Tiger Bowles probably the greatest named player we've ever had.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Well, apart from Mickey Wardrobe.
Yeah, and there was a Dr. Blades very early on as well.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
but yeah, I do think I can put again on merit. You know, Ben shouldn't be the number 1 appearance making keeper out of sympathy or whatever. But he's not. He's doing it on merit. He's the best for me. You know, I always have this argument on the board that he's our greatest, he's probably our greatest ever number one. And then people say, well, no, he's not. Paul Jones is better. Well, of course he is. Paul Jones is a better keeper. And Lee Jones was probably a better keeper because they played at Championship and League One level. But it's not about best ever and greatest are two very different things. And you look at everything that Ben's done for us over 7 years, very soon to be 7 years, all the clean sheets he's got, 2 promotions, the journey he's been on from a non-league, National League North keeper, and easy to dismiss him as a truck driver, to now a very competent, confident Football League keeper. There's nobody better for me. Certainly in the 30 years of watching County, we've never had a greater number one than Hinchliffe. We've had better keepers. Right. Like Paul Jones is clearly, objectively, a better keeper because he played in the Premier League and internationally. But as an all-round thing, which he's offered the club, Hinchliffe's way out on his own.
Absolutely. And it really gets me that his distribution is what people criticise him for. But, I mean, it's never been that bad, I don't think. But particularly yesterday, I think it was his best game ever distribution-wise. I think he must have had 100% completion.
Yeah, he was like prime 2009 Iniesta or something, wasn't he? Some of those passes he was picking. He's just such a lazy stick to beat him with. He could pull off a string of incredible saves and plucking corners and decision making. Then he's going distribution shit. Fuck off, idiot. Yeah, he's not. He's great. He's quality, and look at everything he's achieved with us. And there's so many people who are still willing to put the boot in on him. I don't get it. And then we bring in some giddy child on loan who makes mistake after mistake after mistake. I'm not saying Yaros, but we could do. And yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah,
I think we'll be very, very thankful for what we've got. Akil Wright again yesterday. Just a couple of times where Crewe tried. That was all they had, just trying to get him behind on the counter, and he was just smart to it every time. I mean, considering he came in as, I think most of us expected him as backup to Croasdale.
Yeah,
just made that position his own now. He's got to be one of the first on the team sheet, surely.
Yeah, it looks like he could step up another level as well. And what I like about him is that, excuse me, if he does make a mistake, which is very rare, that doesn't phase him. It doesn't put him off his game. He doesn't just boot it forward next time he gets the ball. He still does that incredible, really confident when he steps in and goes forward and glides past people. Doesn't put him off his game. And I think, a year ago, if he was playing National League North, I know that was only a league below us a year ago, but yeah, absolute credit to him and credit to whoever spotted him and has seen the potential in him, because he's great. And what I like about him as well, he's got that potential to be a proper cult hero as well. That he's undoubtedly a good player, but he's got that something about him which makes him stand out. That, he's probably a better player than Festus Arthur, but Festus had it. He was a cult hero. We've had loads of them over the years, and he's got that something about him, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, don't tend to panic when I see him on the ball either. Compared to Liam Hogan, a lot of the time over the last couple of seasons, when he kind of brought the ball out of defence, you did think, he'd have a tendency to overrun it and clatter into a stupid challenge or something. But with that, he just looks so, like you said, bringing the ball, it looks so composed. It's great.
I think he almost knows his limit of, he can step in, he'll go forward, take it 10, 15 yards, and then he'll play a simple pass, which will move the team forward, move us up the pitch, and we'll progress and we'll hopefully go on and do whatever we do. Whereas with Hogan, it seemed to be he was always looking for an extra pass or an extra 5 yards, or looking to ping it 50 yards, which he generally didn't have in his skill set to do. And we ended up losing possession or giving away a foul or something, which would immediately put us on the back foot, which would mean the 20 yards he's made up was pointless, because we're retreating 10 yards for a free kick and the ball's going over our heads. So yeah, I think it's a big quality in a player who knows that, he's got that confidence to take people on, but then can also just play that simple pass to someone like Croasdale, who we know is ultra reliable and ultra competent on the ball, who can then pass it on to Hippo, who will take us forward. And then, we've got Wotton and Madden who can cause serious damage. We're just really, I think competent makes it sound like we're treading water, but we're just so effective and dangerous, almost like quietly dangerous. I think we are. We're not one of those teams who, we're not kind of like Arsenal 2003 who will just blitz everyone 5-0. We are just this really quietly dangerous, quietly competent team who most clubs will struggle to deal with. We saw Orient came, beat us probably. A lot of people have said that we were the better team. I think they're the benchmark. They were really good. I thought that Beckles at the back was, we didn't get past him all day, didn't get anything out of him. Did took the chances and punished us. I think but apart from that, certainly since we turned the corner against after Grimsby, no one's got near us apart from Orient.
That's it. I mean, it's again like third year in a row we're doing it against League One sides as well. We just look so much better than the sum of our parts. We just no one will fancy playing us. No one.
Exactly. Exactly that.
I mean, the two Walsall games are going to be very interesting because they're another side that are in similar form to us, doing very well. So, weirdly, I'm more excited for the cup game because obviously, the prize for winning that, both financial and then a better chance of getting a big tie in the next round. You think kind of mouthwater in that. I hope we start selling a few more tickets for that one.
We get Fleetwood at home or something, won't we?
That'd be just very us or Forest Green away or just something.
Yeah.
But even Fleetwood at home would do me because then that's against a League One side we tend to do well against them. So then you look at the fifth round.
Scott Brown's the manager there now, isn't he? So imagine the hatred towards him.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think a few people in the Cheeseman would actually explode through kind of anger.
Oh, I'm all for that. Yeah, I forgot he was there now, and it was Joey Barton before that. So either way, I
got.
It's nice to have that pantomime villain, isn't it?
Yeah, my mother-in-law bought me FIFA for Christmas. She does it every year. So I've been playing. Excuse me. Been playing it the last few days. So I thought just to ease myself in, I'll play with County in a cup run. And I don't know if it's kind of geared up because it can't be because they wouldn't know the cup run when it's released. But anyway, I got Swindon in the first round of the FA Cup, as we did, beat them. Cumberland got in the second round. Got Charlton in the third round, which we got in the second round. But then we got Burnley away in the fourth round in FIFA. We beat them 2-1. So you'd take that, wouldn't you? Bloody hell. Burnley away. Any result you take away, but beat Burnley away in the fourth round, third round, whatever it was. And that would be good, Burnley away.
Just think Vincent Kompany could have bought County and then he's going to be managing Burnley to a defeat against us in the cup.
There we go. It's funny how life works out, isn't
it? Yeah. And I thought he was a terrible pundit on the World Cup as well, as if it's relevant.
Yeah. So there we go. Stay your lane.
Yeah. Seeing as we've waxed lyrical about players, this is a question posed by Sarah on Facebook. As everyone's sick of women being objectified, aren't they, Ben? And I mean, after all, as well,
we're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
So if you had to have a torrid evening,
still makes me laugh.
I'll never. Honestly, that is in a year of like amazing stuff for both the podcast and for County. That's just been a highlight of my year. More of that, please. But yeah, if you had to have a torrid evening of lovemaking with one of the current squad, who would it be and why? Because this is our audience level now.
When you say what's the boundaries of lovemaking, where does that end and begin?
Well, I mean, what do you want to do?
Go out for a nice meal, go for a pint, shake hands, and go home.
No, I think we're going a bit beyond.
You get the Vaseline.
No, I can have a bit of a touch though if you want. I mean, if you're interested, I'd go Croasdale because he's unselfish, isn't he? I think he'd be happy with whatever my choices were.
Yeah. I'll leave that one with you, Nick. I'll leave that ball in your particular court.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm a married man. I'm a married man with 2 kids. I can't be speculating about which Stockport County footballer I'd like to do things with. So yeah.
I mean, if this was like circa '96, then we know what your answer
Alan
would be.
Armstrong.
So
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Who's doing very, very well at Darlington at the moment as well? He's top of the league, I believe.
What a man. What a man.
Yeah.
What a man.
I don't tend to keep an eye on non-league and what have you, but it's great.
But
to
where
see
he's
him doing
involved,
well.
I keep an eye on like his daily movements. Yeah. And the thing is, I think he knows it as well now. Because I speak to his son. I message his son regularly on Twitter. And I've located his like various items of his career, like various shirts. I know what he's got now. So just a matter of time, isn't it? Speaking of shirts, bear with me.
Oh yes.
Picked this one up yesterday, shirt fans.
I forgot.
Here we go. Match one.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Like, see, the amateurs amongst you would say it's the shirt we wore against Macclesfield in the 6-0, but it's not for 2 reasons. One, not that one. The TFG against Mac, hang on, I'm doing a mirror here. The TFG against Mac didn't have the square around it, but also it didn't have the white band around the sponsor. And also we had a different back of shirt sponsor in 06-07 rather than 05-06. Boring kind of non-reward low game. Whose shirt was it? Have a guess. 06-07.
I mean, I just saw the name on the back, so
Did I give it away?
As you turned it over, but we'll have a look in the comments and see if anyone's
first person to spot it gets, I don't know, literally nothing. But
it's our approval. And
Yeah.
what more could you ask for?
We'll retweet something.
Well, I mean, I saw the surname, but I'm all right. Well, I saw Robinson on the back of the shirt.
No.
Is it Marvin?
No, Marvin was 04-05. This was
he?
Reliable, ever present in 05-06 left back, Mark Robinson. Do you remember him?
I don't remember Mark Robinson.
In 05,
I remember Mark.
The season we stayed up under Jim against Carlisle and all that, we had a left back called Mark Robinson. He wore number 3. And he was, again, at that stage, reasonably competent. Didn't make too many gaffes like most of them, but had an outrageous free kick on him from the left. And then played every game 05-06. Crucially, when we remember the game Dicko scored away at Bury when we won 1-0, Schmeichel was in goal.
Yes.
Scored late on. What's forgotten is that was 86th minute. About 3 minutes later, Bury went up the other end and had one cleared off the line, and Robinson cleared it. And then 06-07, Robinson played maybe 10, 15 games first half of the season and then disappeared in favour of Michael Rose. Fair enough. Michael Rose's class.
Makes sense, yeah.
So yeah, well, put people out of the misery. There we go.
I think my mind is being
Robinson
is being polluted by Mark Robertson.
Yes, Australian. Ex-friend of the show? Friend of the show?
Yeah. I think he's still our friend.
Yeah.
I don't think he's just come on here and fucked off and gone, right, I'm having nothing to do with
the show.
you.
Official friend of the show.
Yeah, official friend of the show, like yourself.
Yeah. There we go. Mark Robinson.
It's mad how I can just remember all the shite we've had in non-league and then just forget someone who actually contributed to something for us.
Yeah. Some guy messaged me saying, I've got this shirt. Do you want it? Obviously not for free. Like, do you want to buy it off me? I was like, not really, because I've got like 5 of those player-worn shirts already. But the reason I bought that one, apart from like my crippling shirt addiction, is I used to deliver pizzas to Mark Robinson when he played for us. He used to work at Domino's in Altrincham. And I went to him, he ordered a pizza one night, and I went to him, and he opened the door, and I was like, oh, you're Mark Robinson. As if like he was fucking Pele or something.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm a County fan. And he, to be fair, he was great. He was always had a really good chat. Nice guy. Used to see him walking his dog. He lived in Timperley. So that's why I bought it, really.
Personal connection.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Well, other pizzas are available as well. And most of them are probably better than Domino's as well.
You know, I used to work at Pizza Hut as well. I like to tell people, I've literally never said this out loud before. Like headhunted to work for Domino's. It's because Pizza Hut was shut down.
I can't believe you crossed the divide. That's
I did. Yeah,
seeing you in a new light now.
Like Dennis Law in the 70s or
Yeah.
90s. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you bang a back heel in against Pizza Hut?
exactly that. Yeah.
So on to yes, all the there's been, I think it was mentioned on the commentary, which we won't know about because we were there, but by the sound of it, John Kieran described that there's going to be a marquee signing on,
If it's not
striker signing on New Year's Day.
All right, I'm being very careful what I say.
First time for everything.
As we've established on previous episodes, I get told off for saying things that I know. Yeah, I'd love it to be Tshimanga. Still,
We all would, yeah.
like for me, if we sign Tshimanga, is that the biggest signing of almost like of my county supporting time in the last 30 years in terms of a statement as a player who's potentially on the rather maybe Madden, who's been our kind of top marquee, and I hate that phrase because it's such a made up nonsense bullshit phrase, but like who's our marquee signings of the last 25 years? Because Armstrong wasn't, Flynn wasn't, Francis wasn't, none of the 90s players were. So you're looking at maybe Ian Moore, whose club record was, you know, from a comparable division. Maybe Ian Moore was. Beckett wasn't. He was promising a youngster. Dickinson wasn't. None of Rowe, Pilkington, none of them were. So you're
Even
looking
Peter
at...
Thompson, I wouldn't say was either.
Who's that, sorry?
I mean, I know we spent money on Peter Thompson, but it's not like anyone had ever heard of him before.
No, Baker was a good... Oh, shit, he's a good player. But he wasn't that kind of... Right, he's the one to drive us forward for the next 3 or 4 seasons. I honestly feel like Madden was... The only thing you could maybe say against Madden was that he's a bit older than ideally he would be. It's kind of his last big contract. I honestly think if we sign Tshimanga, it would be up there as one of our biggest ever kind of statement of intent signings, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we will. I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have put my house on it that we were signing Tshimanga from some of the stuff that I'd heard. Hopefully we do, but I don't know. Other than that, and another name which has been mentioned a lot, I believe, was at Edgeley Park yesterday.
Yeah, and Sam Byrne has also tweeted that the reports from Millwall's end that 2 bids have been accepted for striker Isaac Alafe. Leave County in the mix again for the centre forward. He was a target late in the summer and fits the mould of what the club want, with Gillingham also interested. Newly minted Gillingham, who have got new American owners who did
all season.
Yeah.
They could do with a new striker, couldn't they? Because the other ones clearly aren't working. They've scored 6 goals and it's New Year's Eve in 3 days or something.
Have you seen the video of their new owners in America? Yeah. And it's just like a hostage situation, isn't it?
It's like something out of the Fred West archives, isn't it?
Yeah. It's. I mean,
well, apparently,
very excited, but
Isaac was at Edgeley Park yesterday. He was spotted by various people, so hopefully we did enough to convince him this is the right move. If he's, I don't know if he's.
He's 23. He had a decent loan spell with Sutton last season. It seems like he's one with the potential to grow. He's not going to come in expecting to play every week at first. You wouldn't imagine. He knows he's going to be a bit of a rotation option to start with. But it's the kind of ideal profile play. It'd be nice to get a striker done early, and then if it is true that Tshimanga is asking for silly money, if it gets towards the end of the window and he's still not got a move, he might be more amenable, and if he doesn't, then we're sorted.
Get him signed. I've probably talked about him on here before. People say he's not played in the Football League, he's not got a record and all that. I don't care. Like Dickinson didn't have a record in the Football League before he came to us. Tommy Rowe, Pilkington didn't. None of those players did. Will Collar didn't. There's quite a few. Shimanga, for me, was the best player we ever faced in non-league. And I include Vardy in that. I always have to caveat that I'm not saying he's better than Vardy, but when we played those, in terms of the performances those two players put in against us, Shimanga was better. And I know he's had his injury, and people say, he's got to go and prove himself. Well, if he goes and proves himself again at Chesterfield, he's going to cost $1 million. If he starts playing for the rest of the season or next season, and he bangs in another 25 goals, then we're never, ever, ever going to get him because he's going to cost a fortune. Get him. Go and get him. Get the big.
Where else would you like to see us do a bit of business then? Because I think backups for both Wootton and Madden would be nice.
Yeah, that's it. That was the worry that certainly since the summer, that if Madden or Wootton, we saw it when Madden got his daft red card, that we played Crankshaw and Wootton or Jennings or whatever, and we looked pretty limp up front. So I think if this Alafe comes in or Shimanga comes in, then we're laughing up front. Midfield, we've still got people like Lemonade Evans, and I think he's great. And people talk about him moving on in January. I'd like to see him stay. I think we've not seen anything near what we could get out of him. We've got Collar Croasdale, we've got bloody Sarcevic on the bench. I think Croasdale, if he got injured, he's a massive loss because he's so good. We've got Akil Wright, but then who replaces Akil Wright if he goes? Maybe Brown.
Or Bardsley, maybe. I can see Bardsley playing as a right centre back more than I can as a wing back in our system, anyway.
Yeah. Look on the left wing or left midfield. Who've we got? We've got Hippo who plays that role. Possibly Rydell. Maybe something over that way. Crankshaw kind of swap sides sometimes. I don't know. It's there's no obvious. We are crying out for a player on that, where we are glaringly short. But yeah, striker really. Striker's
got to be in a position of strength in terms of our form, innit? Where we're not desperate to be picking players up, but if the right player's there, then
yeah. And I think as well,
I don't think Sars is finished either. There's been talk that he might move on, but he's nowhere near finished here.
No, and we saw remember under Jim, like we very, very rarely got. Well, we virtually never got red cards, and we very rarely got any muscle injuries or people with hamstrings and stuff. And then under Rusk, we had this kind of admittedly some of them were overturned, but we had this glut of red cards, and then we had loads of seeming like muscular injuries and hamstrings and things, which kind of held us back and players being out. And then under Challoner, certainly the start of this seemed loads of red cards, but that all seems to have settled down now where we're not getting players sent off. We're not getting muscle injuries. And I know Southam Hales went off yesterday, but hopefully we get that settled, that balance again, which we not really had too much over the past kind of couple of years, and everything settles down and we can call on players week in, week out to do a job for us. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it must be frustrating for Southam Hales because he is on the end of a fair few robust challenges, shall we say? Yeah. But it must be frustrating for him to be picking up these just as he's getting back into the form he was in this time last year, and then it's another injury. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with someone like him, that when he first came on, and certainly under Rusk as well, that such a big part of his game was that outrageous pace that we saw from him when he was so quick. We'd never seen anything like it. I think it was against Woking when we came back in those like horrible limited capacity games. He closed the keeper down at one point, and I thought he was going to take off. He was so like you'd never seen a player move as quickly, and he doesn't really play that game under Challoner. He plays a very different game. He's not on the overlap and all that or he is, but not to the extent he was under Rusk. And I do worry that injury he had against Wealdstone last year, and then he's had a couple of little bits and pieces since then. And if he's had another one now, are we ever going to see the kind of the true potential of him? Because for me, that when he was that fully fit, firing Southam Hales, he was our probably potentially our best player, and he seems to have kind of struggled to get. I'm not saying he's been bad; he's not at all. He's been really consistent, but he's not kind of really hit the heights I would have liked to have seen him hit over the last kind of few months. So hopefully this is a non-injury. He's back on against Walsall, and we see the best out of him.
Well, we're on the subject of Macaulay Southam Hales. There was a video that did the rounds from the celebrations after the Halifax game of him doing a little lap dance for a teammate. I've been searching for that for reasons that no one really needs to know.
Yeah,
but if anyone can,
it's on it's on the Final Five video. At the club, that Inside County. Because I watched it the other week. Because I watch it quite often because it's like deserves an Oscar. That it's brilliant. It's so good. And I don't know if it's the full uncut 10 p.m. plus XXX rated Southam Hales lap dance, but there is definitely a moment. I remember watching it, and I can't remember who the player is. It's someone kind of really, who wouldn't really be reciprocal.
A man's man.
It's someone like Ash Palmer or Hinchcliffe or someone he does it to, rather than it being someone like Quigley who would make a big joke out of it. It's someone really awkwardly sat there having this lap dance. But I'm sure there's a clip of it on.
I think it might be Ryan Rydell thinking about it.
He's too young, isn't he? Be underage.
Well, that's the point. Yeah. And ended up on that list again.
Yeah, I'll be down in Crewe changing room, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to carry on with the show, but I'm going to be in my room with my laptop doing some stuff. I'm going to have to dig that out after. Yeah. I'm so glad. I knew you were the man to come to shed some light on the
do you want some stats, Nick? Do you want some stats?
We all want stats, mate. We all want stats.
Throw some stats out there. So, I went back to quick question for you. Let me start this whole section again. So what year are we in? 2022, with our 2 goals yesterday, is now our highest scoring calendar year since I could be asked going back, which was about 20 years. How many goals do you reckon we've scored in this calendar year? Conference, Football League, FA Cup, FA Trophy. So everything except the Senior Cup.
Right. Oh. So I'm trying to think.
This is a proper stab in the dark. How many goals?
I'd say it's pushing 100. It's got to be on it. We've had a fair few, like 4s or 5s this calendar year.
What are you going for?
I'm going 96.
96 is incorrect.
Well, I didn't expect to get it exactly right because there's a lot of numbers to pick
from. It's our 2 goals yesterday took it to 102. But what's quite interesting, what I quite like about this. So before yesterday, we scored 100 goals in 2022. In 2021, we scored 100 goals. In 2020, can't really count it because of COVID, so forget that. But in 2019, we also scored exactly 100 goals. So this is our highest scoring our highest scoring calendar year, certainly of this century, since the millennium. And I would imagine possibly ever. That's a bold claim, and it needs someone with more time on their hands than me to figure it out. But so we got 102 this year, 100 last year, 39 the year before, 100 the year before that, 96 the year before that. What was our lowest scoring calendar year since the turn of the century, do you reckon?
It's got to be it's either when we dropped out of League One or dropped out of the Football League. It's got to be one of them two because we were piss poor both seasons.
Yeah.
So,
but which was more piss poor?
So I'm going. What year did we drop out of the Football League? Was that 2012?
10-11. So May 11.
So yeah, I'm saying 2010 then, because we had one relegation, then we were on the way to another. Is that correct?
Correct. 2010, we scored 38 goals. in the year. So across probably, what would we have played? Probably 50 games. We scored 38 goals. The next lowest was 2015. We got 54 goals. But yeah, between 2009, 2011, we got like 130 goals in 3 calendar years. And we've got 102 in the last calendar year alone.
Tell you what, these new fans don't know how good they've got it, do
They
they?
do not know they're born. They do not know they're born.
Yeah.
On a similar tip, Nick, who has scored the most goals for us in a calendar year? Since I could be asked looking these things up.
Well, I know the answer to this because we discussed it before. So maybe we'll let the people in the comments do that, and we'll just vamp for a bit while they make some guesses. Alex Skinner suggests Paddy Madden. Is he correct, Ben?
Well, he's laid his chips down early. Let's see if there's any counter on Madden. Anyone?
Well, you are in the YouTube comments and stuff.
I'm going
Don't
to
forget
shut down
to
Dickinson
press the like
straight
button
away.
and all that.
It's not
Yeah.
Dicko.
It's not Liam Dickinson. Let's just nip that in the bud straight away.
Yeah.
Like as good as his Ryan Moore. No,
Francis.
even though all his goals were at the back end of the season, but no, in calendar year, no. Francis, no, we're talking since the turn of the century, so 2000
And even if we
onwards.
weren't talking turn of the century, I don't think Francis would get anywhere near this.
No, it's some spectacular numbers that we're talking about, isn't it?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't think he ever barely hit double figures for us in a season, Baker.
Yeah, no. It's I mean, if it helps, is it not a player we've mentioned?
Should we have a rundown of top three?
Yeah.
Top three.
Yeah.
Top three. So in 2018, with 19 goals, Matty Warburton. 23 goals in 2022 was Paddy Madden, but way out on his own in 2002 with 27 goals. John CC is bang on with Luke Beckett, way out there on his own.
Well done, John CC. You have won nothing tangible, but our respect and admiration, which
Exactly
probably
that.
better than any. What would you rather have, like our respect and admiration, or like a bottle of Stockport gin or something? I bet when the players get the man of the match and get handed a bottle of gin, they're like, no, I just want respect and admiration.
Where's Nick and Ben? Get them on.
Yeah. Getting them to present this award. Yeah. Jason Oswell was suggested. Brett Angel, you can stop suggesting them. Well, especially if you stop suggesting the wrong ones. Yeah, we've got it. I've told you, John. You win our respect and admiration. That's all you're getting, mate. That's literally nothing. Ryan Moore said he'll take a crate of Scandia Lager. Well, you would do, mate, but you said Jason Oswell, so you're getting nothing for that. Oh God, that was some good little. We should do more of this. I think.
This is really awkward, Nick. I do apologise, but my son is screaming upstairs, so I need to go and tend to him. So I'm gonna have to make a quick dash.
You go and do that. Well, is he screaming Luke Beckett? Yeah.
It's bloody Luke Beckett.
Yeah. Probably idiots.
Yeah.
You go and deal with that, and I'll
be back
just
in like 20
vamp a bit
seconds
and
if
talk to
needs
people.
be.
Yeah, I'll just carry on getting pissed up. It's all right. Yeah. So don't forget to like the video on YouTube. It helps push us up the. When you type in County on YouTube, that means that we'll pop up, which. It's a double-edged sword, really, because some people might like it, some people might not. Very acquired taste, just like this rum that I'm drinking. Also, the podcast will be out in about an hour or so on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on the Fan Hub app. Anyway, you can get your podcasts, it'll be on there. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And get in touch at contact@scarfbegarawar.co.uk as well. And maybe you can be like our Manchester City emailer the other week, who emailed us with some very strange claims, and I feel a bit bad because I called it out on the show that me and Russ did the other Saturday prior to the England-France game, and yeah, he's not been back in touch since. So I think he's been very well admonished and has gone back with his tail between his legs, or it was just a joke all along. In which case, fair play, because it was pretty funny, to be fair. I mean, that's very much our humour. That, well, mine. I don't think Russ was too impressed. Russ was just more impressed with my reaction to it, as he is. But don't forget, we have got loads coming up next year as well. We've got some very good, like 96, 97 guests that have agreed to come on. So we'll have that coming up soon. Hopefully some more of the current squad, and hopefully, I mean, all being well, hang on, we'll get to celebrate a promotion, and then we can have some of those players on again, which would be good. Might get Dave Challoner in a pub again, like 4 days after winning the league. That'd be good. Oh God, that was horrible. That. Oh.
Have we got anyone left listening?
Yeah, it actually went up by 1 then.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Oh, it's come back down again now. It's come back.
Just go.
Oh God!
You're tuning in.
Yeah. So, but before we wrap up the show and the year, I will be releasing the podcast before New Year because I thought it'd be nice. It'd be nice if it could be the last podcast of the year, the one that we did, the big fat panel show quiz game thing that we did last week. And thanks to Des Hinks at The Scarf My Father Wore for his lovely piece and some great pictures of it. Everyone looking lovely in the audience. The audience looked like they were really having fun, but in reality, it did not feel like that. It felt like it was. I mean, there's a bit in Notion after till like 4:30 in the morning. That was cracking. That was really good. But yeah, in terms of Andy James was very drunk. Would that be a surprise to you?
No. Not in the slightest. But it is, I've said this before, Notion is County HQ, and any other establishment in Stockport trying to claim such, you're wrong. Sorry, you're wrong.
He was drunk at 5 o'clock when I met him, which was 2 hours before the quiz.
He's probably drunk at 1 o'clock, to be honest.
Well, yeah. Well, I think he was. I looked at his Twitter that day, and he definitely was. I mean, I was in the right state, to be honest. It's good. But
how many times per minute do you reckon he swore when he was drunk?
Oh well, I've been listening back to the audio of it while editing, and I tell you that's been hard work because we accidentally put it. I say we, Russ accidentally put it through the laptop mic instead of the PA and mics that we use. So that's gonna be a torrid editing process. But yeah, there was a paedophile joke inside the first 5 minutes. Like whilst I was warming up, I was setting up for a paedophile joke, and he just came in with one of his own. So. Just that flavour of stuff that you want in it. Ryan Moore says, I know it's early days in his county career, but is Fraser Horsfall our best defender since Ash Williams?
At this stage of their county careers, he's well better than Ash Williams.
Yeah.
Ash Williams, I remember, made his debut away at Hartlepool 2-2 Tuesday night and was good in terms of a no-nonsense, third division, clear the ball when it needs clearing centre half. He had good spells. He went on to be outstanding under Jim, but at this point in his career, Fraser Horsfall looks like one of the best players we've had in years and years and years. He's so good, so good. He really is. Yeah.
And it's amazing how there were people writing him off after like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
There's a lot of that early in the season.
Yeah, he just looks an absolute step above everyone else on the pitch. Not just county players, but most of the opposition as well. He's calm. He can pick a pass. Defending is no problem to him. It's great watching him. Really is. Another one that, absolute credit to signing him.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, before we wrap up, I'm off onto the Grimsby podcast in about half an hour to preview the game next week. I was going to get him on here to do exactly the same thing, but I thought that's too much like hard work. That I just want to get pissed and talk bollocks, which I think we've done. It's been fantastic. But before we wrap up, a few highlights of this year. Then what have you enjoyed? And I'll do what County did and preface it with apart from promotion, because I did love how County did that tweet saying what's your highlight of the year apart from promotion, and it was loads of people like Madden's goal against Halifax.
Winning the league. I'm going to narrow it down. Let's not narrow it down. Let's kind of divide it up into subsections. I think game of the year, favourite game would be probably Eastleigh away. Loads of people have said that, but it did, it was March, but it felt like it was the middle of July. It was really warm. We were on the south coast. We felt like we were like a million miles away from home. Felt like a big effort. We still took 1,000 there. It was the final game we didn't know this, but it was the final game of that 22 game run. We lost the following week at Wrexham, and it was, yeah, it just felt like promotion is inevitable now. We'd won 2-0. Wrexham came back that day and won 6-5 against Dover when they were 5-2 down. Right. But it didn't matter because we still won. We were still ahead of them. And so I think Kings Lynn away was good in its own kind of ludicrous Tuesday night in Norfolk kind of thing. Yeah. Moment apart from Halifax, you then have to probably say Torquay or Solihull. It's just been, we'll look back on it's one of those things that when you're in the moment, it's very hard to appreciate just how important or big or good things are. And I think that it'll only be in 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years' time, we look back on 2022 and think just how good and special it's been. That, we started with away at Alty, we won 4-1. We then pretty much won like 16 or 15 of the next 16 or 17 games. We wobbled, we got promoted, we wobbled at this level, and then hopefully we're on course for another promotion now. It's all like this period of success at County now, going back to probably November 2018, is almost unprecedented in the club's history. And anyone who's part of it now, having 2 league titles in 3 or 4 years, and it's 2 league titles in 3 years, 19 to 22, hopefully pushing for another promotion now. Just got to realise how special and important it is. Very long, convoluted way. I'm not entirely sure what my favourite moments of the year are, but the whole thing has just been bloody good. And let's hope for another 23, as good as it has been in 22.
That's it. We are, because obviously you're the same as me. You grew up watching us like 96, 97, that amazing season, and then the 3 or 4 years that followed that of just routinely beating teams that have been in the Premier League before and since and stuff like that. But I think when you're a kid, you just think it's always going to be like that. And for us to experience such, I'm going to get emotional now. For us to experience such horrible lows after that for a decade and a half. Of just horrid lows, and then to be coming back in the way we are now.
That's it. And it's not as if
people are sitting up taking notice as well. You're seeing people who support clubs that we've never had anything to do with just saying, "Oh, it's good to see them back."
And that's it. It's not as if we dropped from the Championship to League Two, which quite a few clubs have done. Bolton did that. Bradford have done it. Grimsby, Crewe, Oldham, loads of clubs have done that. But we didn't do that. Well, we did do that, but then we continued to drop. But we didn't just drop to the conference. We dropped to Conference North. We dropped further that in living memory, certainly in the last kind of 30, 40 years, any club has dropped without going bust. Like the Hereford, Chester and Darlington had it arguably worse than us and dropped further and started again. But no clubs dropped further just through being purely shit. These clubs dropped because the clubs were badly run and they folded. No one else has had to kind of just bottom out at that level and then climb back up and start again. And I do think that gives certainly everyone who was there and part of it, and that kind of 2,000 or 3,000 who stuck with us, that it does feel all the more sweeter now. We remember 90, not even that, like 92, 93, remember 96, 97, remember beating City at Main Road, remember Hardaker, remember Wembley under Jim against Rochdale, but then we remember the dog shit under Turner and everyone else, dropping down to Gainsborough, Colwyn Bay, Vauxhall Motors, Nuneaton, whoever else used to take the piss, Hyde, Tamworth, and then to see us climb back up with Danny Lloyd, Lewis Montrose, Hinchcliffe to be part of that, Minahan, Oswell, Matty Warburton, and then seeing people like Paddy, Will Collar, everyone take us on to the next level, get us back up into the Football League, hopefully get us out of this level back into League One. There's no other club that has got that kind of history and that journey anywhere at all. There's no one else who's done it. Just like I say, there's clubs who've dropped through financial reasons, but no one else who's dropped as far as we have. and there's no one else that's coming back as strong as we are now. Lincoln did it a little bit, but I think we'll pass them. And Stott's thing about championship in 7 years, well, what is he now? He's getting on for end of this season. We'll be halfway into that vision. So let's hope
I think we're even further on the way than we thought we'd be.
I think if we got this year, then we definitely will be. Yeah, that gives us another 3.5 years to get out of League One. Yeah.
Well, before I get too emotional, just a nomination for my favourite moment of this year. Something Dylan's mentioned it in the comments actually, so this is for you, Dylan.
County's unbelievable historical record here at Valley Parade looks to be continuing. Oh, terrible slip by Songo. What on earth happened there?
He lost the ball about 5 times there. It's utterly bizarre.
That's the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Just glitched almost.
Glitched.
Brilliant. Just you don't need to be in Division 6 to see shit like that. It's fantastic.
Just at the very end of that clip there, just as the clip was fading out, it's probably Ash Palmer's last ever kick of a county ball.
Oh, you had to bring it down again, didn't you?
Just to end the year.
Oh,
yeah.
But you know, from where we were, I never thought we'd get to that point of being absolutely devastated to, you know, have a player who'd make himself a club legend like that and just be that devastated to see someone go. It's from where we were to where we are. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, that's just a year ago we would have hoped for promotion, but to do it in such style, to be where we are now, let's hope that 23, you know, is even better. And this time next year we're wrapping up again. We'll both have proper answers to your questions, and we are looking good in League One.
Wise words indeed. Wise words. Well, thank you, Ben, for joining me. It's been a bit of an impromptu pod this, but I really wanted to get one in before the end of the year. And Russ has got like family and people that care and love.
You actually like him.
Like yeah. So he has shit to do. So really appreciate you joining me, and for all the times you've joined us during the year as well with the live shows and stuff like that. Hopefully there'll be more of that next year, which will be good. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's really, really appreciated. Shouldn't have had all them ciders and all that rum, really, because I'm getting quite emotional now, and I've got to go and talk shit with Grimsby fans, which is always good. Right, that just about wraps us up. We will see you next year. I always hate it when people say that. When people say that like a couple of days before New Year and go, see you next year. But we will. We'll see you next year. And next Wednesday, we'll be back to normal. Well, as normal as it gets on here.
We've played 2 games before then. We could be in the playoffs.
Yeah, we could be. Yeah.
Could
be. With a game in hand.
Imagine that. Against the team
that'd be magic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all for. And for all the talk of Grimsby having a great start to the season, the kind of bit hit and miss at the moment.
The below us, aren't
they? Yeah, we'll fucking have them, the fishy bastards. Right, see you next week, everyone, and next year. Ta-ra!